Hello, I'm Teacher Brian M. Pasqua, and welcome to School on Air English 5. And today we will be talking about inverting sentences. No, not like that. Still. But first, let us go to our learning objectives. So at the end of this lesson, you should be able to compose clear and coherent sentences using appropriate grammatical structures. And we are going to focus on inverting sentences. Now, why do some people use inverted sentences? For me personally, I use inverted sentences to make a sentence more interesting. Like for example, speaking in front of you is Teacher Brian Pasqua. Rather than saying Teacher Brian Pasqua is speaking in front of you. Have you ever watched an episode of the movie Star Wars? Well, in that movie, there's this particular character which I find very interesting because he uses so many inverted sentences. You know the small guy? Yes, it's Master Yoda. And probably because of his inverted sentences, which made him really well known in this movie. So, let us watch some of his clips.
I can't. It's too big.
Size matters not. Look at me. Judge me by my size, do you? And where you should not. For my ally is the Force. And a powerful ally it is. Life creates it. Makes it grow. Its energy surrounds us. And binds us. Luminous beings are we, not this.
Hard to see the dark side is.
So, review Yoda's sentences we shall. In the first clip, he said, size matters not. Let us try to invert this one. No, not like that. It is more common to say it is not a matter of size. Let us now go to the next one, where he said, where you should not. Any ideas? Well, we can say, you should not wear, or you should not get tired. Okay? Now let's go to the other one. They were talking about the Force. He said, a powerful ally it is. Well, you can say it or the Force is a very powerful ally. How about the next one? Luminous beings are we. I'll give you a few seconds to invert it. If you said, we are luminous beings, then correct you are. And how about the last one? Hard to see the dark side is. All together now? The dark side is hard to see. Very good. So before we move on to the next activity, let us first try to review what makes a sentence and some parts and functions of a sentence. Now let us look at the parts of a sentence. We have first the simple subject. A simple subject tells what or who is talked about. It may be a noun or a pronoun. Nouns and pronouns are names of people, places, things, animals, and events. A complete subject contains the simple subject and all the words that go with it. Another is the simple predicate. A simple predicate tells what the subject is or does. It is always a verb. Verb. Verbs are action words. Example, we have cook, write, sing, read, and many more. Complete predicate includes the simple predicate and all the words that go with it. And lastly, we have linking verbs. Verbs that connect ideas to one another. Example, am, is, are, were, and the forms of have. And now I'm going to show you some pictures and we will make some sentences out of it. So get your pens and papers ready. Can you write a sentence using the picture? If your sentence is, the teacher is writing on the board, then that is correct. Now, with this sentence, let us try to identify the subject, the verb, and the linking verb. What do you think is the subject? If you answered teacher, then you are correct. Let us now go to the verb or the action that the teacher is doing. If your answer is writing, then you are correct again. And lastly, let us go to the linking verb. If you answered is, then you are correct. Now try to remember these things. If the subject is singular, the linking verb should be is. If it is in the present tense, and was if it is in the past tense. Example, the teacher is writing on the board. That is written in its present tense. And the teacher was writing on the board yesterday. That is in its past form. If the subject is written before the verb, then that sentence is not inverted. Let us go to this picture again. So, how can we invert the sentence? Number 1, try to identify and write the verb first. In this case, our verb is writing. Then, write the words that precedes the verb. Where is the teacher writing? Writing on the board. Next, write a comma followed by the linking verb. So, Writing on the board is... And finally, write the complete subject. Writing on the board is the teacher. And now you have an inverted sentence. Now let us go to another picture. You have to remember, if you have two or more subjects, you must now use the linking verb are in the present tense and were in the past tense instead of using is and was. So, we say the teachers are sorting modules. Let us try to invert this sentence now. Sorting modules are the teachers. Let us do another activity. And this time, your turn it is. The proper linking verb, choose you must. So you must choose the proper linking verb inside the parentheses. Let us first read the sentences. My brother is washing his hands. Disinfecting the house are my parents. Infected with the COVID-19 last month were hundreds of Asians. Quarantined in her house last week were my grandmother. Working together to make a COVID vaccine are the scientists. And now I'm giving you 1 minute to think of the correct answers. And after 1 minute, we will check our answers. Are you ready? Your 1 minute starts now. Your time is up. Let us now answer the first sentence. But before we choose the correct linking verb, let us first identify the subject and whether the subject is singular or plural. So what do you think is the subject in the first sentence? If your answer is brother, then you are correct. But is brother singular or plural? Correct. Brother is singular. And so, the correct linking verb is. My brother is washing his hands. Let us now go to number 2. What do you think is the correct subject? Is it house? No. It is actually parents. And is parents singular or plural? Correct. It is plural. And so the correct linking verb is are. Disinfecting the house are my parents. We move on to number 3. Infected with the COVID-19 last month were hundreds of Asians. What do you think is the subject? If you answered Asians, then you're correct. And is it plural or singular? Indeed, plural is the answer. So, the correct linking verb in this sentence is were, because it is the past form of the sentence. So we read it as infected with the COVID-19 last month were hundreds of Asians. Moving on to number 4. What is the subject in this sentence? If your answer is grandmother, then it is correct. And is it plural or singular? It is indeed singular. And so, knowing that your subject is singular, what should be the correct linking verb? Is it was or were? So the answer is was. Quarantined in her house last week was my grandmother. And finally, let us go to number 5. Working together to make a COVID vaccine are the scientists. So what is the subject in this sentence? Scientists. And scientists is singular or plural? It is indeed plural. So what do you think is the correct answer here? Are is the correct answer. Working together to make a COVID vaccine are the scientists. Good job! Normally in sentences, the verb comes first after the subject, but when the verb comes before the subject, the sentence is in inverted order. Also, in inverted order of sentences, the verb still must agree with the subject in number. So when the subject is singular, the verb should be in singular form. And when the subject is plural, the verb takes the plural form. Let us now study the chart to understand how to compose inverted sentences where the subject and the verb must agree. When the sentence starts with or introduced by here, the example of an inverted sentence is here is your face mask. The singular subject is face mask and the singular verb is. And when a sentence starts with there, then an example is there are your face shields. The plural subject is face shields and the plural verb is are. The next one, when the sentence starts or introduced by is, are, was, were, am, do, does, or did. An example, number 1, Is your mother sick? 2. Are your parents old? Number 3. Were there policemen yesterday at the checkpoint? Number 4. Did the children enjoy the meals? And number 5. Am I going with my parents? Take note, I takes the verb am in the simple present tense. How about when a sentence starts with prepositional phrases? An example of prepositional phrase is under the table. Under the table is a small mouse. The next one, when the sentence starts with present and past participle of verbs. In number 1, learning English are my students. The present participle there is learning. Number 2, hidden in the cave is Yamashita's treasure. Hidden is the past participle. And now for our final activity, to see whether you understood the lesson or not. I present to you my 30-second challenge. I will be presenting a series of sentences, whether inverted or normal order sentences. You should be able to identify whether the sentence is in its normal or inverted order. Once the sentence appears, you will just have 30 seconds to rearrange the sentence, or else the sentence will disappear. So, are you ready? Here we go. Let us now go to the answers. So for the first sentence, the children are always praying, that is normal. Always praying are the children, that is inverted. The next one. To the new normal, people are now adapting, that is inverted. People are now adapting to the new normal, that is normal. God is our greatest protector, that is normal. Our greatest protector is God, that is inverted. Brian is wearing his face mask, that is normal. Wearing his face mask is Brian, that is inverted. The teachers are wearing their face shields, that is normal. Wearing their face shields are the teachers, that is inverted. With a helping hand, things are done easier, that is inverted. Things are done easier with a helping hand, that is normal. One was isolated for a month, that is normal. Isolated for a month was one is inverted. Modules are checked every week, that is normal. Every week, modules are checked, that is inverted. Quarantine for 14 days we were, that is inverted. We were quarantined for 14 days, that is normal. And finally, scheduled for disinfection are the modules, that is inverted. The modules are scheduled for disinfection, that is normal. I do hope that I was able to convey new ideas to you clearly. For my final word, this you should remember. Bright future you'll have. If study hard, you will. Once again, this is Teacher Brian. Stay safe and God bless.